Assalamu alaikum and welcome to part 3 of Quran Rehab Season of the Heart series. In the previous video, we explored the first of 2 steps towards effectively managing the emotion of fear. And the first step revolved around the concept of preparation. Now with regards to the second step, it doesn't so much revolve around a lot of practical action that needs to be taken, but more so an action of the heart. And that is to have full servitude and reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have tawakkul. Now we've already established that all results are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that us making a full effort and exerting all means to an end is a form of us demonstrating our sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to proving our worthiness of His assistance. So we're therefore going to start inshallah exploring step 2 of managing this fear by asking ourselves the question why it is so important and so beneficial, particularly when managing the emotion of fear, for us to be in a constant state of tawakkul. Well, the answer to that is simple, and that's because just as we know that all results are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we also know that those results themselves are of the best, and that's because they're according to Allah's perfect knowledge and His most kind and generous nature. Now when we look into the story of Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala demonstrates this reminder for us beautifully. In the incident after Musa alayhi salam, through the will of Allah, had parted the Red Sea, and he had led Bani Israel through the basin of the Red Sea, and they had reached the other side. And when they did, it's narrated to us that Musa alayhi salam began to hit his staff into the water in attempt to get the sea to return to its normal state. So in response to Musa alayhi salam's actions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واترك البحر رهوا إنهم جند مغرقون. So although Musa has a plan, which is to stop Fir'aun and his army from entering into the basin of the sea in order to create a temporary distance between himself and Fir'aun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also has a plan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually intends for Fir'aun and his army to enter into the basin of the sea so that he can create a permanent distance between Bani Israel and Musa and that of Fir'aun and his people by actually drowning them in the sea. So with regards to ourselves, when we've done all the preparation and taken all the steps we can, we should find comfort in being able to know that regardless of the result, they are always for the best, inshallah, because these are results from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we look for an example in the Quran of tawakkul being demonstrated in action, in person, we see this in an incident with Musa alayhi salam, when he initially reached the Red Sea. Now, when Musa alayhi salam had fled Egypt with Bani Israel, and pursuing them was the terrifying army of Fir'aun, and before them was the Red Sea, and to the side of them was a mountain, some of Bani Israel began to feel trapped, and they started panicking. And some of Bani Israel began to question Musa and began to blame him for their predicament, which they thought would end in their death. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فلما ترى الجمعان قال أصحاب موسى إنا لمدركون. And what was Musa alayhi salam's beautiful response? He said, قال كلا إن معي ربي سيهدي. So despite what Musa alayhi salam physically seen with his eyes, he chose instead to see with his heart, having full confidence and reliance in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that His assistance would be there for the believers. I want to point out here a very important side note that we can learn from, and that is that when Musa alayhi salam stood sandwiched between the Red Sea and the oncoming army of Fir'aun, he was waiting for the assistance and help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he didn't actually do so reclining or sitting down. No, he was up and active and looking for a means to an end. And we know that he was walking through the crowds of Bani Israel with Harun and Yusha bin Nun. So when it comes to ourselves and us having exerted a lot of effort in our pursuits, and we are enjoying the tranquility of exercising tawakkul, it shouldn't mean that we close our eyes to the opportunities that might be presented around us. Because although we know that the best results are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these results might come in forms that we might not expect, and it might come in the form of guidance towards further action, just as it did with Musa alayhi salam when he was then ordered to hit the sea with his stick. So coming to the end of this very, very brief introduction on managing the emotion of fear, I wanted to end with a very interesting and a profound observation with regards to Musa alayhi salam's life and with regards to the emotion of fear. And that is that if you are to read a description of Musa alayhi salam's character or to ask anybody of knowledge, they wouldn't hesitate to describe him as a very strong and courageous and bold man. So how is it that somebody that can be described like that be associated with the emotion of fear so frequently in the Quran? I guarantee you it's not a contradiction. Because in life, the fact is, we can't truly know something without knowing its opposite. For example, how can we know bravery without knowing fear? How can we truly understand love without knowing loneliness? How can we know happiness without sadness? SubhanAllah, this symbolic contrasting is present throughout the whole Quran. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He couples a lightness with darkness, when He couples land and sea, sky and earth, etc. It's the natural law of balance. I want to conclude, inshallah, by reiterating the fact that it's okay to experience fear, just as it's okay to experience any of the other emotions you might come across. Our emotions give us the opportunity for personal growth, a positive change, if we choose to manage that emotion positively. My name is Halimah. You've been checked into Quran Rehab. Until next time, inshallah, take care.